Hello, how are you? My name is Chris, Bloody Chris. I'm a beatboxer, artist, and I do a lot of beatbox workshop, multi-vocal workshop, and I also work with people that aren't musicians to develop their relationship with their creativity and to establish some balance in their life. So I'm gonna be doing workshops at the European Beatbox Championship in May, and that's very exciting because people who are organizing it are true vocal artists, are very passionate about this event. They develop their life for beatboxing and vocal music. So right people doing right things, it's always very exciting. I'm gonna be one of the three people that are responsible for workshops, and my workshop gonna be about a lot of things, but mainly I think about establishing better connection with yourself and going more inside than outside, and like build up your creativity, like your inner world, your confidence in it. So it's a lot about mental health, it's a lot about just imagination and trusting your own self. And why I think it's very important? Well, because it's so many reasons, but let's start with that let's look on the scene, right? Most of the people sound the same. Most of the people train for beatbox battles. We don't have that much new beatbox styles, right? We have new sounds, that's okay, but the frequencies, the energy, the build-ups, the arrangements are, like quite similar for past 10 years, right? I'm very rough right now about it, but some things that were developed by my generation are still core foundation. And of course there are many new school artists that are amazing, and I would love to do what you guys do, right? But we are not talking about this now. We're talking about more style and more creating something new, something fresh. So I think we can all agree that because of the internet, everybody love the same techniques, and we just know what works on the battle, right? So we learn what works on the battle and we hope for the best, which is very okay. And I would do the same if I was on your position. I started in '99. There was no YouTube. We only exchanged MP3s, and if you had MP3, that was something amazing. And because of those limits, we had no other choice but to create our own styles. So sometimes it's very hard to create something new when you have million beatboxers doing stuff that works, that are powerful, all this bassy stuff, trappy stuff, and so on and so on. And it takes a lot of courage to say, wait a minute, I will stop doing what everybody else is doing. I'm gonna focus what's here inside. I'm gonna be interested what's here inside, and even though if that's scary, I'm gonna look for such a long time, then I'm gonna find a treasure. Just because everybody are doing lip rolls and this bassy stuff, and no separation between sounds, like everything is a one mushed powerful sound, it doesn't mean that's gonna work for you. Let's go even deeper, or let's continue this topic. If everybody else is doing the same and you have aspiration and dreams about to going pro, about living from your creativity, living from your music, living from performing, living from many other stuff, it's almost impossible to do it at all. But if you do what everybody else is doing, then it's honestly impossible, right? So let's ask the question from where you can find your own style, how you do it, right? Well, there are many things to go around this topic, but mainly It's about sharing your own story and your own view and your own way how you experience your music, your beatbox, your vocal craft. So, it's a couple of things. It's being interested in what's going on in your heart. It's working on yourself as a human. And finding some connection, some emotional connection with your techniques. For example, to put it more plainly, right? Because this is all a little bit romantic, a little bit, abstract. I have my favorite snare, which is PF snare. And I learned it after 6 months of walking around in the forest, skipping school when I was 13. And I remember after, it took me really 6 months because there was no tutorials, there was nothing, like literally nothing. And because it took so many months, and I remember that it was such a big part of my journey because I start from zero, and after 6 months I have my PF. Then I continue to work on it. And when I do PF snare, I feel trust of myself. Like I feel this confidence that even though nobody believes in me, if I'm gonna continue day by day going into the direction I'm gonna focus on, I'm gonna get to the point I want to be. And it's all happening like very deeply, kind of subconsciously in me when I do beats with this snare. And it's not that every time I do this snare, I'm thinking, oh, I was 6 months, blah, blah, blah. Like I tell myself the story. No. I get the feeling of confidence and also being lost, but not giving up. So it's all happening in a flash when I do this sound. And if you are able to establish this emotional connection with every sound, and we can start very plainly, very simple, right? We can start, for example, I like my hi-hats, or I feel powerful when I do bass. I love house music, so that's why I do kicks. Like very simple stuff. It doesn't need to be crazy. But start somewhere and see where you're gonna get because of it. Another thing what you can do is when you have your routine, and when normally when I ask somebody to do a routine, they do like fully prepared routine where there's no empty space. So when you have a beat that has no silence in it, it's very hard to understand it, and it's very hard to feel what's going on in the beat. If you have a beat with a little bit of silence, the silence part is the moment when the audience, when your fans, when people who are, deciding to listen to you, have a chance to breathe in your energy, your story, your art, your creativity. So the more silence you have in your beats, the better. Problem is it's scary. That's why most of us, when we do the beats is non-stop something. And the more, the better, the faster, and so on, right? So that's another tip for you for today, to build more silence into your beats. And how to approach it practically, let me tell you. So start with 20% of your beat. Start with only the snares. Then get the kicks. Then get the hi-hats. Then get the bass, but not the main bass. And train every part of your composition with the same energy like it was full, but mute different sounds. And try to acknowledge to yourself, how do you feel in this beat when there's only snares? And create some kind of a journey inside of you. Like, go to your imagination and just like empty space. You're just you and your sounds. You start with only the snare and the rhythm, so a little bit of the body movement. And you slowly, every 4 or 8 bars, you add another sound and try to see what's going on in you. Try to see where are you. So build a creative story, a path in you, and try to maybe make notes or talk to your friends. How did you feel in the beginning and how did you felt in the end of the song? And for me, what's interesting, because of that, you will stumble on amazing skill, which is a little bit also forgotten in our community, especially on the in the internet videos, the storytelling and arrangement. So arrangement is actually the story. We can go in the technical ways, but mainly why we arrange things, it's to have an idea that you feel that you're going somewhere. It's wonderful for listeners, but it's very nice for artists because you have this feeling, and this is connected with what I was talking just previously about, imagining what's going on when you are doing your beat. You have the feeling that you're somewhere, you're walking in your rhythm, and then every other sound is another point of the story, is a turn left or turn right, another place that you're going in, and the final form where you put everything, right? You put everything of your beat. It's your final destination, and it should be dramatic. It should have this emotional tension that you're gonna create by the story and arrangement and the feeling that you were going there. So it's gonna be lovely for you because it's gonna feel like walk in the forest of your imagination, and it's gonna feel way better to the audience. And last tip for today from your old school, true school guy who doesn't know how to do new school techniques, but we're always doing my own techniques, that the final form of your beat shouldn't be too long because it's precious, it's kind of secret, I don't know, kind of, it's just, it could be too much. So if you really want to show the people your maximum, right, you have to prepare it. You have to make them prepare so they will be able to understand, listen, feel it, and appreciate it. And you will do it by your storytelling, through your arrangement, and through the silence. Look, I'm talking to you for almost 15 minutes, and every couple of seconds I make small break. Also to see if I am not bullshitting you. But at the same time, this silence is the moment when you actually hear me. When my words are going into your head. And it's the same with beatboxing. So, when I hear a beatboxer who's doing only hardcore beats with no silence from the start, I know he's scared. An audience, even though they are not professional beatboxers like us, they can feel it. So the more silence in your show, the more professional you are, the more courage you have. The bigger chance that you are sharing something real, something honest, and it's worthwhile. So I encourage you to go deep into yourself, take your time, and don't worry if it doesn't sound like everybody else, and don't worry if you don't know the new technique, because there are some things that only you can perform, only you can compose, but you need to take your time to get to know yourself go deep into yourself and see what treasures are there. And it's scary because it means that you cannot run away from yourself, from your problems, and from who you are. But this kind of approach, let me tell you, gonna help you have a better life, gonna help you understand something about yourself, gonna make you like yourself more, and experiencing this kind of art and composition are something special. Really something special. Thank you for listening to me this year from 18th till 21st of May. See you at the Beatbox European Championship. See you also here in the mountains on my workshops. It's gonna be a good year for beatboxing. All the best. Take care.